3.
They think they are.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Housing Day, or if you're in Mather, Happy Mather Day. This is me 3 years ago.
Thanks.
Today I will be discussing an article written in 2007 by Haselton and her colleagues called Dress to Impress, Ovulatory Shifts in Female Ornamentation. It was published in the journal Hormones and Behavior. First, let's start with a little background. We'll define female estrus as heightened sexual motivation in females during ovulation. It represents itself in primates, as you can see here in our friend the baboon, as a sexual swelling. So if we look at our phylogenetic tree, we see the chimpanzee and the bonobo, two of our most closest relatives. Each shows a sexual swelling during female estrus, although in different varying degrees. But humans have evolved to conceal this estrus and to conceal their ovulation cycles. So let's think about why that might be. Straussman hypothesized in 1980 that changes in social organization led to an increase in parental investment. Those changes were increase in group cooperation and pair bonding. She hypothesized that those offspring would be more likely to live. And then she further hypothesized that due to that female ovulation was concealed, the female ovulation further improved, that she hypothesized that concealment of ovulation led to further parental investment, which led to more reproductive success. Other theories include that female deception of alpha male would lead to less infanticide. So moving on to the current study. Dress to Impress was performed at SUNY UCLA, although Harvard Today is matching SUNY UCLA's prowess. Haselton and her colleagues asked the question, were there any signs of estrus in human females that remained? Beyonce seems to think so. They hypothesized that women's motivations change during ovulation, that women are more likely to be seeking a mate while they're fertile. They further stated that these motivations would be measurable in self-ornamentation or clothing choice. Here we have Christina Aguilera demonstrating for us two different kinds of clothing choices, day and night outfits. They took 30 participants, 30 partnered women from UCLA. Partnered women have been shown to have increased hormonal effects during ovulation when compared to unpartnered women. They had a mean age of 21. They're comprised of different races, African American, Asian American, Caucasian, Hispanic, and 20% identified as other. They all had regular cycles and were on no hormonal pills. Photographs were taken of women at high fertility and low fertility points in their cycle. Their cycle were determined using luteinizing hormone assays. Women would come into the lab 0 to 5 days before their ovulation and 0 to 5 days before menstruation. Each photo was digitally corrected to have a blue oval over the face to conceal facial expressions and facial characteristics. Hair display and earrings were left to be seen. This was so that judges could look especially only at ornamentation, accessories, and grooming. Judges were 17 men and 25 women. Most were between the ages of 18 and 40, although 2 were older than 41. Judges were asked, in which photo is the subject trying to look more attractive? The major results were that the low fertility photo was chosen 41.5% of the time, and the high fertility photo was chosen 59.5% of the time. If we take 50% as chance, the high fertility photo was chosen above chance rates with a p-value equal to 0.013. So this was a significant result, although it seems that 9.5% above 50 is small. Judge gender did not have any impact on the results, and judges tend to agree which tended to agree which photo was more attractive, whether it be the low fertility or the high fertility photo. Further, there was an interaction with days to ovulation. If we look on the x-axis, estimated days to ovulation, 5 to 0 being the day of ovulation, and the percent of judges choosing the high fertility photograph on the y-axis, we see a significant positive linear relationship between days to ovulation and percent chosen of the high fertility photograph, with a p-value equal to 0.0949. So, the closer you are to ovulation, the more likely your high fertility photograph would be chosen. There was no interaction between days to menstruation and which photo was chosen. This graph is a little confusing, so bear with me. They had 3 RAs judge each photo about the clothing choices from high fertility to low fertility photos. You notice, across the row, they don't add up to 30, because not all women showed differences in each column. But on average, in the percent concordance of judges' codes were the concordance that they agreed across each one. So, wearing more fashionable clothing was rated as high for high fertility and low for low fertility. The same with wearing nicer clothing, showing more skin on the upper and lower body, as well as wearing skirts and lacy tops. But if we look at wearing sexier clothing, we see that they are about the same. In fact, they're higher in the low fertility stage. This could be due to social norms being unacceptable to wear sexier clothing during the day and walking into a lab for an experiment. Wearing more accessories is entirely up to the research assistant who coded it, whether or not they consider a watch an accessory, whether or not they could see rings. So we can almost discount that column. The limitations of the study are kind of obvious. First of all, circumstantial evidence. What if a woman had an interview that day? She would look more professional. Or if she had a midterm that day, she would look as though she hadn't showered, perhaps. The sample size was also a small, not diverse sample, meaning they were all students, despite being different races. Since they all went to the same school, and they probably all aligned fairly much so within themselves based on clothing choice, it is hard to apply this to a larger scale. Further directions of the study include examining cross-culturally whether this effect appears. As you see, the Maori women of New Zealand have quite a different idea of what female ornamentation is. We could also examine this in unpartnered women. And we could also look at length of relationship, mate attractiveness, and age, as well as many other variables within this study. To conclude, women were found to dress to impress on average. Women wore more ornamentation on days of high fertility than low fertility. Evolutionarily, if we look at Hasselton's hypothesis that motivations change over ovulation, women are looking for mates, we can conclude, arguably, that female estrus is behavioral. Thank you. Happy spring break and happy Mother Day.